say no 1,000 times no.
¿Se te va? Pues coge. Coge, coge. ¿Sí?
No.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. And in the words of Jay-Z, we don't believe you. You need more people. Um, there's always this conversation around fake gamers, and I often wonder every time I hear that term, what makes a gamer fake and what makes a gamer real? Is it the amount of time you spend playing video games? Is it how good you are at video games? Is it about entering video game competitions? Does it matter if you only play online? Like, I'm always interested to know what determines a fake gamer from a real gamer. Now, for me, you know, I deem someone to be a fake gamer when they claim to really like a game but know nothing about the game and seem to have never have played the game at all. Now, there are a lot of times where people will really enjoy games but won't know anything about the game. They won't know who made the game, which development studio produced the game. They won't know all of those details. They may not even know the main character's name. All they know is that it's a game that they really enjoy and they play it from time to time. And I want to say that that was something that was very common when I grew up. I remember even back in the day, like in the mid and early 90s, when we were playing a lot of Street Fighter 2. If you didn't have Street Fighter 2 like at home, like if you didn't have it on the Super Nintendo or something like that, and the only place you played it was like in the arcade store, sometimes you didn't always recognize the names of the actual characters. Like, for me, when I was a kid, I always referred to Blanca as the green dude until like I actually started playing Street Fighter 2 at home and I realized his name was Blanca, and then I started calling him Blanca. Um, or I completely mispronounced certain the names of certain moves that Ryu would do. Like, for instance, uh, the helicopter kick. I would always call that move the Chuck Chuck Nougat. Now I know that there's an actual name for that move. I still can't pronounce the name of that move to this day. Um, the only word that I really could pronounce was Hadouken. And I probably wasn't even pronouncing that right because when you read it, it looks like it's really Hadouken. So I say all that to say that, despite not knowing like the characters' names and despite identifying them by what they look like, or even some of the sounds that they made, um, it didn't mean that I wasn't playing a bunch of Street Fighter 2. I was playing Street Fighter 2 every chance I could when going to the arcade store. It just so happened that I didn't pay attention to a lot of the things that other people paid attention to. And then obviously, as we, go further on down into future generations of games, obviously development studios become bigger, budgets for video games become broader as games become more expansive and more detailed and more lifelike and realistic. And that's where, things take on a whole nother level. But again, I go back to the question, does knowing the production studio, the creators, the name of the people who created the character, is that what makes you a real gamer versus a fake gamer? I don't have the answer to this question, but it is something that I often hear. I see it a lot on even on other channels, really mostly on other channels. Um, that they'll mention, this person's not a real gamer, that person's not a real gamer. When it comes to me, I'm a collector. That's why I'm the Y2K collector. I'm a collector that loves video games and plays video games, but I'm a collector first. Um, I would say, and I just play video games. But for me, I like to collect. I've always liked to collect things. Um, when I was younger, I used to collect stickers. Then I don't know if you guys remember these or if you're old enough to remember, but they used to have these things called Pogs, and it was a game that you would play. And like if you had a metal Pog, you could like slam them, and Pogs were really big back in the day. So I used to collect Pogs. Um, you had Gigapets. I don't know how many of you remember those, but back in the day, I used to collect Gigapets and Tamagotchi pets, or even comic books. I remember there was a point where I was collecting comic books like left and right. As a matter of fact, I remember like I kind of fell off collecting comic books around the time that I got into the Avengers series. With the Infinity Wars, which is a big part of the reason why I was frustrated when I actually watched what the MCU did with that story, because it's really not like what happens in the comic books, especially when you factor in Adam Warlock and what happens when Adam Warlock comes around. I'm still disappointed with what they did with Adam Warlock. I don't know how they're going to turn that around, but they really did a bad. Like I was really hoping that they did something different with Adam Warlock, and there are a ton of actors that they could have chosen to play Adam Warlock. I really don't know why. I'm hoping like in future Marvel films, when they show Adam Warlock, hopefully like he evolves into like his like final form or something, and they choose a different actor to portray him. But anyway, I digress. Um, yeah, I loved collecting. I play video games whenever I can. I don't have a video game schedule. I just play them whenever I can play them. And I play the games that I want to play when I want to play them. So I'm interested to know your thoughts. Let me know down in the comments what you think, I guess, makes a real gamer versus a fake gamer. All that aside, though, I did one more final game hunt today. I was really stoked when I ran into a Game Gear. Like, I am checking all the boxes off my list in like a matter of a month. First, it was the Sega CD. Now I got the Sega Game Gear, and I'm like Sega'd out. Like, I've just gotten so much Sega stuff. It's not even like, but which is okay by me. I'm a huge Sega fan. But so this Game Gear wasn't in horrible shape, actually. Um, I'm almost positive that it's gonna. Well, I know it's gonna need a cleaning. That's for sure. But I'm almost positive that the screen isn't gonna work, just because these consoles are known for having screens that just absolutely fail you. So my plan for this console, for this Game Gear, is actually to do a screen swap, but not to swap it with like another Game Gear screen or like replace capacitors. I'm actually going to try and replace this screen with like an LCD screen, like a much more brighter and vibrant screen. And I know there's a bunch of tutorials online for how to do that, but that's my plan for this. I don't know what other issues or problems are going on with this Game Gear, but this might be an experiment in 2025. I tried to do something like this with, what did I try to do that with? I think I had like a Game Boy Pocket I tried that with. Sorry, but it didn't work out too well. So I'm going to try it with this. This was a cheap pickup. This was like a $30 pickup. Well, I guess that's not really cheap, but it's better than what it goes for. I see these go for like a good amount of money online, but for me, this was 30 bucks. So I'm going to tinker with this and tamper with this, probably starting off in 2025, and make this like a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon project, something that I can tinker with, go back to, tinker some more, go back to it. So we'll see. Ooh, hope I'm not getting sick again. But let me know, guys. Let me know down in the comments what you think about the Game Gear in 2025. I keep saying 2024. I gotta get used to saying 2025 now. And what do you think makes a real gamer real and a fake gamer fake? It's just something that really crossed my mind, and I'm interested to know your thoughts. That does it for me. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.